everybody has his refreshment, so we can absorb the next information because it's a lot to take in. But it's our last speaker for today, and it's actually the queen. The queen, I can already say her, among us. It's Renee Besseling, and she's the chair. Oh, we'll wait until she's here because now you're clapping for me. So, and I'm not the queen, I'm just her assistant. So she's the author of Parents of Natural Preventive Against Drugs, the Dutch experience, and she's going to talk about the closed coffee shop chain experience in the Netherlands, the purpose of the experiment, the background story, and the target audience. So please give an extremely good welcome to the queen, powerhouse.
There we are. Good. People everywhere in the world believe that drugs are legal in the Netherlands. Who believes that? Are drugs legal in the Netherlands?
No.
Nobody believes that.
No.
Okay, that's correct. Drugs are not legal in the Netherlands. And then you can ask, why is marijuana allowed? Well, cannabis became a problem in the 60s. Yes. Cannabis became a problem in the 60s, and the Dutch government didn't know what to do. So a civil servant was sent to the USA. He met with people there involved in the drug liberal movement who advised him. So they advised him to normalize marijuana in the Netherlands. So in 1976, the opium law made a difference between drugs with an unacceptable risk and those with less serious risk, which means people would have 5 grams of cannabis. And you could grow 5 plants of cannabis for a year for personal use. So when you say you have an acceptable and a less grave risk, people started to call them hard and soft drugs. And the Pandora's box was opened. What means 5 grams a day? So you could have semi-legal, decriminalized 5 grams a day. So if you are caught with 5 grams a day, that was for personal use, no problem. But that is 1.8 kilograms a year. And if you have 675,000 regular users, then your year consumption is 1.200 tons, is 2.4 billion joints annually.
It's a lot of joints.
That's a lot, yeah. So, and home growing 5 plants a year for personal use, you think that's nothing. If you say something, oh, in the Netherlands you can have 5 plants a year, so they say, well, what is the deal? I read yesterday that there is a new proposal in Australia where you can have 7 plants and 80 grams of marijuana. So they keep it in mind what this means in the Netherlands when you have less. So 1 plant per year is producing 1.5 kilograms. Times 5 is 7.5 kilograms. So that produces 3,000 joints annually. So you can have 8 joints a day. Harvested 4 times a year is a total of 12,000 joints per year for personal use. So 35,000 to 50,000 home growers produce 600 million joints per year. So, and this is for personal use. If we have the coffee shop, that was also in the in the difference of the law that a coffee shop could have 500 grams of marijuana in stock. So previously we had 800 coffee shops and they could have an annual profit or sales of 150 kilograms each, which is a totaling of 120 tons a year, which is 240 million joints. That is 16 joints per Dutch citizens annually. Most Dutch citizens are not smoking drugs or marijuana. So a diagram of, when you make a diagram of this, you see that the coffee shops have 0.24 billion joints, and home grower has 0.6 billion joints, but the personal recreational use is 2.4 billion joints. So an overflow of drugs created a market, and that is what has become in the Netherlands. So what do you create? Drug tourism. Drug tourism, this is what it is. Drug tourism you only can get when you encourage by, this is encouraged by lenient policies, and the business side of criminal organizations faces less oppositions in your country to do when it is like this. So drug money fuels corruption, what we have already heard this morning. So what to do? The front door was open, but the back door was closed. A solution to this dilemma had to be found, and an inquiry committee was in 2019 established. And there was a professor, his name is Knut Neris, and his advisory committee made recommendations. Remove crime from all parts of the cannabis chain, which is called decriminalization. Ensure cannabis is not unnecessarily unhealthy from cultivation to distribution. Experiments with a closed cannabis chain, so legal regulation from production to sale, has been advised in 10 cities and 10 license holders, include regulated edibles, cookies, gummy bears, and space cake. So we already heard today what that does with the very young children. I have a graphic from the Minnesota Marijuana Hospital, and they treated poisonings from children under the age of 4 years. So you see, when marijuana was legalized, young children who are eating these gummy bears or elderly, also coffee, whatever took from the parents, they got into the hospitals, but you have already mentioned that before. So the key points. The Professor André Knut Neris, he was then the chairman of this advisory committee. He was an advisor to the ministers of health and justice and security to conduct a closed coffee shop chain, which is called the Weed Experiment, which municipalities and license holders, those who grow marijuana, would be eligible and can qualify and participate in the Weed Experiment. And then the key points is that a chain of sales, production, procurement, and delivery for recreational use, focal point, and that focal point is a new word in the Netherlands when it comes to drugs. where the license holder bring the cannabis to the focal point, and the coffee shops can buy it there. They can. It's a store. You can say a storage of the cannabis. Of course, this can be a problem because you can have thieves or whatever. So they really look into it to make this safe. But that is called the focal points. You have a very big firm. They are not Dutch, but they are in different countries in Canada, for instance, and they are called Ken Adelaar. And they are one of the 10 companies granted a license for trials. So he was on video and he said, in this greenhouse we have 200,000 plants in only, we have it here. So when you have 9 others, you just can't calculate. So they say it's a significant financial investment seeking long-term sustainability. So the experiment, they say, is a duration of 4 years, and if it is a success, then it can potential extensions. So the start-up costs are 10 million euro. So that's quite a lot of money. So some companies who like to grow cannabis, they struggle to obtain loans, and some haven't started yet. So Ken Adelaar can't provide all the coffee shop in the Netherlands with it, but they do their best, they say. So if you have a city and they have 1 or 2 coffee shops, or they have 15, it doesn't matter. All the coffee shops in this city, they have to be connected with the sales, with the focal points. They can't say, I don't want. No, they have to. So that is what the rules are. I didn't have so much time to look through it. So the license Ken Adelaar, they say very clearly, we are not here for the short term, we are here for the long term. The experiment will last 4 years, and they are optimistic that it will be extended because we think it is very good. And then, of course, what we also thought was that the economical side of it, Knopferius was asked economic impact of this weed experiment, and Knopferius' view was what he told the politicians, that, well, cannabis is not a healthy product and should be used sparingly. He believes there is a stable market worth around 1 billion euro a year. So if taxes are introduced, it could generate several 100 million euros annually. We all know that this is just an idea and it is not the truth because the costs are higher. This is a significant opportunity for the Dutch economy. The Netherlands is the world's second largest exporter of agriculture products, earning 170 billion euro for food export in 2023. The cannabis industry is new, and its growth could have significant impact on the agriculture and horticulture sector in the Netherlands. So they look a whole other way than we do. It's nothing to do with the right of the child. So the closed cannabis chain experiment issues with the current tolerance policy, and the policy of tolerance has several disadvantages which experts have identified. The recommendations include decriminalization and the entire cannabis supply chains. And they believe that this will be the best that they can come up with the problem of closing the back door. So we say close the front door. They say open the back door as the front door is. So what we say, we can't compromise for political or social experiments in the Netherlands. So protecting children means taking a firm stand. There is no right to use drugs when the cost is their future. So children's rights must be protected as stated in Article 33, what we heard today, of the UN Conventions of the Rights of the Child, the CRC. The drug experiment is upsetting for every child. So what we want to do is protect our children and say no to the closed coffee shops and the experiment petitions. So we want to announce a petition, but we heard this morning that the parent organizations in the Netherlands, Moeders, they have already a petition like this. And I think we should include in your petition, so we don't have the same petition. So that will be very good if you will have this petition on your website, so we can sign. Yeah. Yeah, we can hand it out later. We will meet this evening.
Petition Moedige Moeders Nederland on Google, and you get it.
Everybody understand that.
Yeah.
But we will inform them later. So, what we were thinking to make our own petitions, why should we do our own when we can incorporate in somebody else who is already started? And this is what we have to do. Don't make extra work, but incorporate in somebody else who already does the thing. And so, you know, we go around and we are here from all over the world, so try to connect and do this. So, actually, that was all for today for me, because I have just 15 minutes, and I thank you for this, and I really hope that all can sign that this is a terrible experiment. We don't have such an experiment in any country. So it is very stupid, it's very dumb. But I like very much to know your point of view of it. You are working, yeah, me? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, because you are working in prevention, and I know you work very hard and do a good job. And what is your, what do you think, how will this impact in your work, your prevention work?
It already does, because two of the cities that are included in this experiment are here in Brabant. My name is Danielle van der Leren. I work as a program manager on prevention for Nobody Kentel. It's an addiction care organization here in this region. Yeah, it's difficult because I'm not against the experiment, because we already have coffee shops in the Netherlands that sell the drug, sell marijuana. And I think it's better to do it in a way that you can regulate it than have a back door that is not regulated at all. So that's, yeah, I can imagine that it looks difficult because on the front side you sell something of what we know is riskful. And on the other side, the back door is also riskful at the moment, and this experiment tries to make that a little bit better. And it's from a perspective of safety. It's different when you look at it from a perspective of health. It's always a different discussion, but they flow together. So I'm not against it when it's regulated on the right way, and it gives us prevention workers more possibilities, I'm not sure what's the right English word, to be in contact with the shop owners and do prevention interventions in the shop, or train them, or and maybe it's still not the best option because it's still available, but it's more than what we had in the past.
Okay, I get to you later, but I know when I started to work against drugs, and I came to the TRIMOS, and that is the you call it, it's the Institute on Health Issues, mental health issues also. And then when I came in 30 years ago, and then I saw there is the information for the coffee shop owners. So they have what you are talking about. They do prevention, so that if you are a customer of a coffee shop, you get the information how to use it, and that later on was more known as harm reduction. So I think it's very brave from you to come here, working with prevention in the Netherlands. We see also there are very few Dutch people here, and it is just a very difficult issue in the Netherlands because one says so and the other says so. So I really hope that we can make the change and why we make it. And of course, it would be very interesting to hear what you say later. You have a question?
Well, I don't have a question except that the idea that you can regulate this is a myth. It's been tried for over 20 years in the United States, and there are tremendous problems still with contamination, heavy metals, and so forth. And everybody says the same thing. Every marijuana bill that's been proposed in the state legislature starts off by saying that this is the toughest, most regulated marijuana bill in the country, and every single state has not been able to regulate it. It's the nature of the plant. It sucks up heavy metals from the soil, contaminants and so forth. New York, which has very strict laboratory controls and things, the marijuana industry in New York did a study and determined that their own products are not healthy. Okay, and this is a state that is heavily regulated, that charges a lot of money to become a marijuana store that gets plugged into the regulation. So you're going down the wrong path. We've tried it, it doesn't work.
Well, we can see what happens in the Netherlands the last 40 years. Three or almost four generations have grown up with the harm reduction thoughts. So this is what we are faced up in the Netherlands. How do you change this thought that you can regulate a drug which is a craving when you take it, which is unhealthy? So it takes a long time to change that. So, and I think, once again, it's very, very good that you are here, and what we like in the Netherlands, we like open discussions, we respect each other. So, for now, I give you, and this was my little part of it.
Yeah, thank you.
Actually, I want to invite all the speakers, of course, Renee, so you can stay over here, and Gary, John, would say to come over. So if there are any questions, maybe you can help me with the mentee.
Maybe we should close that down because they have these pictures in the face. If you take a photo, you look like...
Yeah, like you got that tattoo.
So are there any questions maybe to John?
Voor René, bedoel je net?
Of for Renee, yeah?
Ja, ik heb wel een ding.
A question, we can repeat.
Yes?
En dan gaat het questions.
Han, you have a question for Renee? So Renee, I give it to you.
Do you want a seat?
Yeah, do you?
No, I'm tall, I like this.
Thank you for your words just now, and also your reaction to it, because it's honest. So I'm going to that. I think the legislation, wetgeving, that's a sort of challenge to handle. But I have one product what I sell, sort of sell for free, and that's information. If we really should go, everybody who's here, and lots of other people who are using materials, information materials, and bring it in practice. Sorry for my English, but then we are sort of prepared for the pressure from using drugs, because good informed people choose for a drug-free life, and that's where drug-free world stands for. So that was my sort of answer.
What is the question?
Yeah, what's the question?
So why don't we, can't we get to the point that everybody embraces good factual information program and not only direct to
Legislation. Legislation.
I can tell you that there is one political party in the Netherlands who opposed the gedoog, also accepting of drugs in the Netherlands. But on the end, they say exactly the same as you. They have very good points, they have good prevention programs and so on. But in the end, it is, well, we can have coffee shops, we can inform those who are using, because if they want, they can have good information. And if they have a problem, or if they get a problem, we can help them. As we have seen before, there are not enough hospitals or TCs and so on. So there is no possibility to recover those people, to help those people. So what this politician said, that we let the coffee shops pay a very high tax. So what is the meaning of that? I mean, they need to have rules, and the rules you have, children can't buy when before 18 years old. But the children, they are on the street, they have parents, and the very young children, as we have seen, they eat the gummy bears and so on. They are not protected. So what we have talked today and about the importance of the rights of the child, not the rights of the user. And the conventions, they protect the rights of the child. And nowhere you can read that you are allowed or you are free to use drugs. No, you can't read it anywhere. They take it. And why do they take it? Because they are pushed to take it of the drug legalization. You have seen, we talk about millions of euros. So it is a big business, and that's why I think we should stand up, because our children are not for sale.
I'll speak to the information issue, and in Australia, Drug Free Australia regularly does media releases, but none of those get produced by any media. They ignore all of our media releases. We still send them, and in the hope that somebody is going to pick them up. So take A for instance here. So you've got cannabis. We have Stuart Rees, who will be, Dr. Stuart Rees, who will be on tomorrow. He's done the population studies on cannabis for the whole of the US, 14 countries in Europe. And the disease burden which is being presented by cannabis is phenomenal. It's actually creating more cancers in the societies of Europe and the US than tobacco and alcohol combined, both of those. Now you think tobacco is bad, cannabis causes 33 cancers now, instead of 16 for tobacco. That's a lot of cancers. And you say, all right, we sent that out to the media as a media release when the studies, these population studies come out in a medical journal determining that many cancers. Are they interested? No. Why? Why are they not telling the public? Wouldn't the public need to know, especially medical cannabis, that medical cannabis is going to cause 33 cancers, 89 birth defects in Europe is what it's causal in. But the media has no interest. Why? Because their investors are invested in cannabis. And so the editors say, no, we're not going to print that. And our media releases go nowhere because it tells them something they do not want to hear, and yet the public does need to know.
John wants
Yeah, go.
No, he wants to.
Yeah, Ben.
Yeah, John, I'd like to just answer this, and I'm going to be very blunt. Americans Against Legalizing...
Wait a minute, I'm shocked that you're going to be blunt, but go
Okay.
ahead.
We will not sign on to any petition that calls for the regulation of marijuana in the thing of safety.
Everybody hear you.
Okay. We will not sign on to any petition that has a solution to the marijuana problem, the regulation of marijuana sales. We're not going to do that. I have a question for you, John. This is a headline from today.
It wasn't my fault.
Huh?
It wasn't my fault.
No.
Oh, I
Now,
just...
New Jersey has had heavily regulated marijuana since 2021 with extensive laboratory testing and so forth. So what is your response to today's headline coming out of New Jersey that a recent secret shopper program in New Jersey found that through laboratory testing that 28% of the cannabis pre-rolls, in other words, leaf cannabis rolled up for smoking, exceeded state regulatory microbial limits. Does that shock you?
Nothing shocks me.
No. But what do you think then? New Jersey is all regulated and taxed and everything, and yet 28% have not met microbial standards. In other words, they're poisoning people.
Okay, so first of all, I want to thank everyone for the robust conversation. And I hope you don't feel picked on or anything. What's the purpose of sound drug policy? What's the purpose? Anyone? Yes.
Okay, so you're talking about...
Just one sentence.
One sentence.
Without
Money.
without anything, even without you. What's the purpose of sound drug policy?
Examine the impact of children or parents' drug use. That's the purpose. That one should be evidence-based. Not how the user is feeling about his drug use.
How about this? To reduce the use and abuse of drugs and their harmful effects on individuals and the community. To reduce it, not to expand it, not to grow it, to reduce it, maybe to stop it. If we were talking about peyote in 200 years ago, where the Indians used it to get closer to their God, does anyone know of any addiction within the Indian tribe? No, because they used it for a specific purpose. That was it. If they did and got addicted, they couldn't make arrows and hunt the buffalo. So it didn't happen in that. As we modernized our world, then all of a sudden we had time to do stupid stuff and use it and get addicted. But ultimately, the problem is addiction. And in terms of, as we started to try to put regulations on it since 1898, when we first in San Francisco outlawed the opium dens and opened that Pandora's box. We've never been able to put it back in. And we have tried time and time and time again to think that we could regulate anything, whether it's opium or marijuana or tobacco. The biggest black market of drugs in the United States is not heroin. It is not cocaine. It is not marijuana. It is tobacco, because it's regulated, and then you can tax it, and then you can go behind and have a black market. See, if anyone thinks that you can then take that marijuana will be different, is fooling themselves. You cannot regulate it and be successful. If it is illegal, it is less, there's less of it in the community. It's harder to get. That's been the most successful thing. Now, then we can argue about what happens to an individual and human rights and all of that. And the most affected by a regulated drug, the most affected are two sectors of the community. Number one, youth, and number two, minorities. They are the most negatively impacted by regulation. It doesn't work. It has never worked. It will never work. And I can go on and on for 8 hours on it if you want, but I'll stop there. I could go into detail on why. It doesn't. I can't sign on to that either. It just doesn't work.
Very short, because it's almost
Oh,
time.
it's very short. When I did prevention in a school class with 12, 13-year-old kids, and I talked about the danger of marijuana, then one boy picked up his finger, and then he said, I don't believe you, what you are saying. If cannabis was dangerous, our government will never ever allow that. So I thought that child was very, very clever.
Yes, that's true enough, thank you. Sami, I want to thank all the speakers here, John, Gary, Renee, thank you. I want to thank you all for, let's say, being here, but before I end off, I have some last things.